Hello, welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Nikki Wallman. The Greenhouse Holocaust exhibition is a small wooden building dedicated to the Holocaust in Lithuania. Established in 1990, this museum was the first institution in the Soviet Union to speak and teach about the Holocaust. Through photos, documents, art and sculptures, the museum reveals the terror of the Holocaust, life in the ghettos, and the armed and spiritual resistance in Lithuania.
The history of the greenhouse. The exhibit, entitled Catastrophe, opened on June in 1991, and it was done by few very enthusiastic people, and it was the first Holocaust exposition in the Baltic states. The exhibition was done in very primitive way. You know, I may say it was done by using glue and scissors method, but it was done with a very big heart. And the aim of the exhibition was, first of all, to show facts, documents, to show evidences, memories of witnesses. And of course, the aim was to show what's happened, to explain the meaning of the catastrophe, to reach a young generation, to open doors and minds for the discussions, to start to talk about it, to show how it was difficult or even impossible to be a Jew in the year of Nazis occupation. Two small children came to see an exhibition. We were, I don't know, about 10 years old, and when we saw all these pictures and everything, we started to cry, and we ran away from the museum. We how to say, we were shocked. Yeah, I'm embarrassed, and it was scary. It was scary for them to look at all of these pictures.
In Vienna there's an organization called Gedenkdienst. It's from the Gedenk, it's from the Yiddish word Gedenken, it means remembrance. And it's very engaged in Holocaust education and anti-fascistic projects. So in Austria, basically, we have to do the military service. So there's the duty to go to military. And instead of this, we can do, for 12.5 months, we can go to an accredited organization. And this Gedenkdienst sends about every year 25 people to different Holocaust museums all around the world. So I applied for Vilnius, and that's why I'm here. I mean, they offer places in Washington, in London, in Amsterdam, in Berlin, so really a lot of important and nice places to go. But actually, Vilnius is one of the places where the Holocaust really happened. And Vilnius is also one of the places where still the society is not very educated about this, and anti-Semitism is still going on, and also the official revisionistic politics is still a big topic in Lithuania. So that's why I think the impact to work in such a museum, as you can see, it's a very small museum, it doesn't have a lot of money, it doesn't have a lot of workers. So the impact to work in such a museum is much bigger, and it's of course more interesting than in an environment like Berlin, where the whole topic of the Holocaust is much more on a scientific level if you work in a museum than in Vilnius, where it really, here it's basically the Holocaust happened here, and also the collaboration was one of the biggest ones, so it's important to work in such places too. During the Nazi period, Lithuanians collaborated a lot with with the Nazis. So you have, for example, in Paniare, volunteering Lithuanian battalions and police units shooting in Paniare. So all these people were volunteering here. This is, of course, connected. I mean, like, also the death toll in Lithuania, it's about from 94 to 97%. So, of course, this is not possible without a big will of the population to collaborate. And if we talk about collaboration, it's important to mention it's not only the shootings itself, it's also giving the Nazis evidences where Jews are, or just helping the Nazis. It's also preparation for shootings. When I came here, I didn't really have, I was not an expert on this, of course. So if you come here, you start to learn. And through making tours, through working with the exhibition, because we are renovating the exhibition now. So through working with everything like this, you grow into this topic. So actually it's a process of thing. And sometimes it's difficult, of course. I mean, to work in a Holocaust museum, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it helps you also personally to understand this dark chapter of history. Also, if you're an Austrian, of course, it's a very big part of your national identity.
Our sages tell us that prior to the wedding ceremony, neither man nor woman is considered to be a complete entity. It is only by the joining of man and woman in marriage that the two halves can become a complete whole. Under the chuppah, or wedding canopy, a number of blessings are bestowed upon the couple. Today, we take a look at just what those blessings represent.
Now, the concept of marriage is the continuity of life itself. The beginning of the service is the bride, of course, walking down the aisle with her father to the chuppah, where the chatan, where the bridegroom, is already there. And believe it or not, we have this mystical number of 7, because the bride encompasses her husband underneath the chuppah while we sing about the greatness of God on this occasion to bring this union together. Then we have what's called the kiddushin, the sanctification of the marriage, which entails making a blessing over the wine, which is then given by the mother and father, respectively, to the bride and groom. So to speak, handing over from one generation to the next generation, sanctifying with wine. Then the bridegroom places the ring on the finger of the bride, and he says the old age sentence, Harei at mukadeshet li b'tabat zu kedat Moshe v'Yisrael, which means simply, behold, you are betrothed unto me according to the law of Moses and Israel. Then we have the reading of the ketubah. The ketubah is a marriage contract which goes back thousands of years. And so the first part of the ceremony talks about the legal side of the wedding. So when I start singing, it's the happy part of the ceremony. Then everybody joins in the festivities of the Sheva Brachot, which are sung by the cantor and choir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the recital of the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings. And if I could ask for everybody to please endorse these blessings by responding with Amen.
The 7 blessings are exactly the same blessings that have been bestowed upon Jewish couples, thousands of Jewish couples, for many, many centuries. In the 7 blessings, we talk about, first of all, creation. God creation in the world, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, love between 2 individuals, which brings them together underneath the canopy, and then the children who come along, and it's a continuity of Jewish life, and it keeps Judaism going from one generation to another generation, going back to Mount Sinai, when the Torah was given, many, many generations, a chain of Judaism. And that's very, very important to us, to keep that chain going. And so everything is ultimately due to the Almighty, and we thank Him for what we have. This is very important in Judaism. Before we eat, we make a blessing, thanking God. After we eat, we make a blessing. We come to the synagogue in the morning and evening, and we thank God for all that we have in life. And so it's so important, this recognition of the Almighty, when we are celebrating this happy event.
Sason v'simcha hatan v'kala.
You know, in the life of a cantor, we go through all facets of life, from birth to death, and the most joyous occasion for a cantor is actually the wedding. And it's really a privilege to be able to sing underneath the canopy, to bring these two people together in love and happiness. And it's the start of their marriage.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for joining us, and please don't forget to join us again next time. As always, from me, Nikki, and the entire team, shalom and have a safe and peaceful week.